One of the things that's taken for granted in the Bible is this issue of possession by demons. So people are possessed, people are healed from possession. Jesus heals a bunch of people from possession. Even Jesus' enemies take it for granted that possession is a reality, that it's a thing. So I'm willing to say, though, that perhaps many of you, if not all of you, listening to this right now, are not affected by full-on possession. I can't assume too much nowadays. I mean, there's a lot of evil going around, but I would venture to say if you called up an exorcist and said, "I need your assistance," he'd probably pump the brakes on that request. But here's how it works. I remember reading a book, I think it was by the famous Father Gabriele Amorth, who's the famous Roman exorcist. He's passed away now. But he said that, there's nothing more that the devil loves, not when a person decides to go into full-on evil, but when they allow evil to conquer their lives inch by inch. In other words, when a person allows their own personal sins to run rampant in their life or to go down a slippery slope, that's what the devil loves the most, because that gives him the foothold. That gives him the thin edge of the wedge, as it were, to open the crack a little more into our hearts so we can take full-on possession down the road. Anyways, so that's sort of the sombering reality, is the seriousness of our own personal sins. But the flip side to that, and this is really the good news that I want to share, is that when a particular sin or a sinful habit is, even if it's small, if it's consciously engaged with, if it's consciously fought against, that can send a person on an upward spiral of virtue and grace. So evil works the other way. A person who engages in a small evil can send him down or her down a downward spiral, but a virtue that's consciously worked on, even in baby steps, that can cause a person to go on an upward spiral of virtue and grace, because that's how the virtues work. They're all connected. When a person works on one, they often work on many of them, and they don't even know it. It's like in the Psalms, it says a person who does this goes from strength to strength. It just multiplies. The important thing, though, is to pick a virtue to work on. Okay, so here's the invitation for us on this Sunday when we're faced with this topic of evil and possession. So God willing, none of us is actually at that point. Although if you are or if someone else is, we should be praying loads for them. But the invitation for us, I think, on this day is to consciously work on a virtue that might not be the biggest and the most pressing thing in our lives right now, the biggest area or the most pressing area in our lives, but let's have a good go at it. Let's see how we can make a baby step towards growing in that virtue, because a person who does that, the Lord rewards and allows that person to go from strength to strength.